So we have been making equations and graphing them. Okay.
We're finishing lesson.
Example 4, here's the equation that we're getting.
-3.
Okay. What we are asked to do is graph this equation. Now notice in this question, it's not a word problem. Okay, it's just an equation that has the variables x and y, and we're asked to graph it. So what we do when we encounter this, and this should really be reviewed, is you make a table of values. Where we're going to choose values for x, plug them into the equation, and calculate values for y. Okay? And we are told which ones to choose. 0, 1, and 2. So if I plug 0 in 4 minus 3 times 0, what do I get? What is 4 minus 3 times 0?
What? 1. 1 times 0? 0. Well, 3 times 0 is 3. I mean 0. So that's 4.
So that means the point, one of the points on this equation is 0, 4. A second one is when we plug 1 in for x. What do I get here? 1. A second point is 1, 1. Now we plug in 2. And we get -2. A third point is 2, -2. Now we want to plot these points, which we should be familiar with now, 0, 4, 1, 1, 2, -2. Notice those 3 points will form a line that you can draw through. But remember, we were talking about this yesterday. Do we connect the points?
No.
Could I plug any value of x in that I want? Why not?
Because
It's not a problem. It's not a problem situation. Can't I plug in anything I want? I could plug in -1.7 for x. I could plug in 22.5 for x. I could plug in -1,000,000 for x. I could plug in any x value I want. I'm not restricted by the question. So that means we do connect, and we draw a line right through it because we can go forever. So we don't just draw a segment connecting those 3, we draw a line through them because I can pick any values of x I want.
and the arrows, you can keep going with the one.
Yes. Okay. So whenever you have an equation that has just x and y in it and you're asked to graph it, it will always be a line. Okay? Always. Okay, so we did A, we did B, and C. That should be pretty straightforward to answer. Is this linear?
Yeah.
Yes, because it's a line. Yes, it forms a line. And we're going to be graphing more like this in 7.3, where we're just given equations that have x and y in. Okay? But we're going to finish off this with another problem. So This is kind of putting everything together that we've been doing. Student council is planning to hold a dance. The profit, how much money they make, is 4 times the number of students who attend, minus $200 for the cost of the music. Okay, well, that 4 times the number of students to attend, that represents how much a ticket costs. Okay, so we need to write an equation on how to calculate the profit. So let's call the profit capital P. And let's call the number of students little n.
Sorry, where is, oh, wait.
Okay. How would I calculate the profit?
4 times
4 times,
here.
4 times
Then
n, okay, minus 200, right? Because this is how much money you're going to get, bless you, selling the tickets, but you have to pay some to put on the dance. Now we want to graph this equation. But notice, I haven't given you a table this time. We got to make our own. So remember, n comes first. And we got to pick values for the number of students attending. What would be a realistic number? Like, would we want to calculate 1? No, 1 student isn't going to attend. There's going to be more than that.
50.
10 or 50, sure. Let's do both of those.
Maybe 100.
100? Okay, so if 10 attend, that means they get $40 from the ticket sales, but they have to pay 200. So that gives, oh, sorry, I'll rewrite that.
It's okay.
That gives negative 160. So they're actually losing money there, aren't they? If only 10 students attend. If 50 students attend, what's their profit? 0. So they need at least 50 students to attend, or they need more than 50 students to attend to start making money. So let's say 100 attend, we'll do 4 times 100 minus 200, and that gives us 200. Now they're starting to make money. So we've got to graph these. But notice this time, remember in the previous problems, we only had to draw quadrant 1. But because we've got some negatives now, we have to draw our graph like this. Because we can go down into the negatives, can't we? So this is the profit. This is the number of students. I'll put them on the outside, just so they're clear to see. What do you want to go up by on the horizontal axis? Tens? Yeah. Or maybe 5s. That would work. Well, I don't know if you have enough for 5s. Let's do 10s. So I'm going to do every second one. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. How about this scale? Notice, okay, well, I've got 0 here. Here's 0. I've got to go as low as 160. I've got to go down to negative 160, and I've got to go up to 100. How much should I go up by? What number goes into 160 and 20?
Well, I mean, no.
Like a nice number to work with. I need something bigger than that. 4 is too small.
10,
10? Can you think of something else?
12,
12 is not a nice number. Because then what are you going to do? 12, 24, 36, 48? You won't make it to 200.
20,
20? 40?
50, 30.
Actually, 40 might be good because doesn't 40 go into these two exactly? Sure it is. Anything that ends in a 0 is a nice number to work with. So 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240. Remember, you don't have to list all of them. You can list every second one. And then we're going to go down 40. And the second one is negative 80. And then negative 120. And then negative 160. And I can stop. Because those will be nice to plot now, those points. We've got 10, negative 160. So 10, and then down here. Right? 50, 0. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 0. A 100, 200. So 100's way out here. 200 is up here. Notice those 3 points are going to form a line. So that's a graph of our equation. Our next, actually, oh yeah, this is actually this is C. Here's the question. Should we connect these? Remember we talked about this yesterday. Can you have a fraction of a person? So maybe we shouldn't connect these. Maybe we should just leave them as they are. Okay. I mean, this one's a little close, but I'm going to leave it that because you can't have a fraction of a person, we don't connect. So don't connect. Because you can't have a fraction of a person. And the final question, how many students have to attend to make a profit? Well, we can answer this from the graph.
100.
Well, those are definitely going to make profits, but what's the least number? How many students attended and the profit was 0?
50.
50. So how many have to attend? 51. At least 51. Yes, it can be 100. Yes, it can be 400. But it starts at 51 and goes up. That's to make a profit. Anything 50, they make nothing. Anything below 50, they lose money. So they want to make sure they have at least 50 students, well, if not more, that are sort of committed to attending this dance. Okay.
Yeah.